What's going on, guys? Welcome to another gameplay video. Today, we're going for maximum jank. So, if you've watched any of the last couple videos, we've lost, like, excessively. We are on a huge losing streak, and we're probably going to continue that today. So, this deck is completely based around Mirror March and Dance of the Manse. The whole idea of this deck, get a lot of enchantments in the graveyard, pull them all back out with Dance of the Manse, copy them all with Mirror March as it comes out with them, and hopefully not only gain a bunch of life, but get a bunch of creatures, deal with the opponent's board, and potentially even deal some damage and draw some cards. It does a lot of stuff. So we're going to go through this one step at a time. So in the 2-drop slot, we have Birth of Meletus. This is a very obvious include. Not only does it give us lands that we might need, but it also kind of spits out little tokens that are going to help us stay alive and then gain us some life back. So really just a great include. Omen of the Sea, gonna help us draw some cards. Obviously, the Scry here is nice as well. And in fact, we do run all 3 Omens in this deck for good reason. This one just helps us draw ourselves into the better stuff. And then even when it comes back out, draw us back into maybe another Dance of the Manse or something like that. Omen of the Forge, great way to deal with early game creatures. We need to stay alive as long as possible, so stuff like this is really, really helpful. And again, that Scry comes in handy. Thrill of Possibility, a good way to ditch some of the artifacts in your hand to just continuously draw cards and get to a Dance of the Manse. I'm going to talk about this in a second. Omen of the Sun, so our 3rd Omen here, spits out not only 2 creatures, but also gains you 2 life. So this is really, really important. One, it keeps you alive with that gain life, but it also gives you a little bit of extra longevity with the creature side of things as well. 2, Prison Realm. This one's not as great because it does stick on the battlefield. It's not necessarily something you want that often, but it certainly does have its uses, and it deals with creatures and planeswalkers well. It also gives us a Scribe, which is really, really key. And then, of course, Thirst for Meaning here in the 3-drop slot, a good way to draw cards and then, again, ditch some of those enchantments in your hand. Elspeth Conquers Death is a good way to deal with bigger things. It's kind of just a general catch-all. Does not do anything really in the 3 with the 3 saga counters on it. We don't have any creatures or planeswalkers in this deck, so it literally does nothing there. And then here is Mirror March and Dance of the Manse. So Mirror March, if you don't know, essentially gives you extra flips to hopefully copy all of the creature tokens that you bring out. And you may be saying, well, that's stupid. You don't have any creatures in your deck. You're right, but with Dance of the Manse, we can. So this turns all of our artifacts in the graveyard. One, it brings them back, but it also turns them into 4/4 creatures, which triggers Mirror March, which means all of them get to be copied as long as they are 4/4 creatures, and that does include extra Mirror Marches, things like that. So the idea here is to get up to X equals 6, so you do need 8 mana, and then bring back a ton of enchantments, and that's it. The hope is that you can swing in with maximum damage as quickly as possible, usually on the next turn, obviously. But the whole thing here is it just does maximum damage. It's really, really sweet. So I'm excited. I have been playing with this deck a little bit. Excuse me. And it's actually really sweet. It does not always win, but it is very, very fun. Let me just check really quick. Okay, good. So we are going to jump in and do our standard 3 games here. I'm calling this Mirror Manse. This is a deck that was not something I made up from the ground up by any means. This is something I've seen around, but this is my own version. And I'm really excited about it. Just actually included the Omen of the Sun recently because that is actually a very helpful card for this deck. So very, very excited here. Normally this would be a great hand, but we need 1 more land. We do run a higher land count here. I apologize, I didn't go through those, but don't think we can keep that. We can keep this, and in fact we will. I'm going to put one of these back. Go ahead and play this out. Perfect. So I'm going to do this and just pass here. Let's go ahead and Omen. This deck is really, really fun though, guys, for real. It's a little ridiculous, but that's kind of the point, right? I think we'll actually keep both of these. So the Omen of the Sun is actually going to come in handy pretty regularly here. Let's do this. And we're actually going to pass here. Great thing about this is because all of these have our scry effect on them, it's kind of like no matter what, you're going to have options, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and Omen here. My assumption is they will have something to play, but certainly worth giving it a shot. That's fine. Obviously not ideal, but that's okay. We fully expect that they're going to have a lot of stuff to play here, so that makes a lot of sense. Let's put this Temple of Triumph out. We're going to keep the land on top. We really do need to continuously get our land drops here. Like I said, we do have to get up to 8. 8 is a pretty high number. But you can already see we're on turn 4, and we're at 18. We're not like, you know, hurting for it by any means at this point. So we're doing okay. Yep. Gonna go ahead and throw another one of these out here. I'm gonna go ahead and chump block the runaway Steamkin. I'm okay with taking 1 here, not okay with taking 4. If they want to utilize their mana to kind of get rid of one of these guys, by all means, that's completely fine. But let's save ourselves the damage. And now we're in a position where we really just need to get to Dance of the Manse. We need to get some things in our graveyard, which is perfectly, you know, exactly what we need to do, and that's fine. But other than that, we're not too far off here. Go ahead and pull out a Plains. Go ahead and play that one. And then we're going to scry using this first. We want to get the Omen of the Sun in the graveyard more than we do the Omen of the Sea. Drawing cards is nice, but against these red decks, keeping ourselves alive as much as possible is way more important. Which is another reason why Birth of Meletus is such a good card. There's aggro decks galore in this format, so it's just a way of keeping ourselves afloat. I am going to chump block here. They could very well have an Embercleave. Something tells me they're on a budget, though. They are playing Chandra's Pyro, Helix, and Slaying Fire, which is a bit interesting. That is a very good draw. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to Thirst for Meaning, ditching most likely Mirror March. Perfect. And we do have the dance here. So let's get that. And again, we'll go ahead and scry using this Omen of the Sea, or the Sun, excuse me. And we need essentially 2 turns to really make this happen. I think we're okay with that. Let's do that. Now they're going to be dealing a lot of damage this turn, which is certainly not good. And there is always the option of just Dance of the Manse just to get some of these omens out. And maybe that's what we end up doing. They do get the Thirst, which isn't great for us, but, you know, we'll see. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so we do kind of have to go for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're gonna have to go for this here. So we've got these 2, and then probably just the Birth of Meletus. So maybe X equals 3. Gain a little bit of life back. We don't get anything off of the Birth of Meletus. That's fine, though. We will get a 0-4 out of it. And this does keep us alive a little bit longer, which is pretty crucial here. Obviously still not in a great position though. They've got plenty of board pressure. What we would really like to see is an Omen of the Forge, I think, the red one. But yeah, they are, whew, they have got tons and tons of stuff to deal with here, so not feeling great about this. Wow, they pulled a Mirror March. Okay, so So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we do kind of have to block there. And then block like that. We'll do that. Trying to take care of at least something here, which is the Ox, which, you know, isn't great. Down to 1. Well, unfortunately a bit too late, I think, on that Omen. Let's do this. We'll discard the Steam Vents. They can certainly bring that back, so that's not really a huge hit. All right, I think we're gonna lose it here, but this has actually been kind of an interesting game. So if we had gotten one more turn, we could have Dance of the Manse, gotten Mirror March out, and done probably a lot more. Unfortunately, that obviously was not the case. And here, obviously, we just can't do anything about this. So good on the opponent. They just had a really, really solid opener here. Unfortunately, we did not have... Normally, we've gotten a little bit more, I'll say, creature removal with the Red Omen, as well as the other 3-drop enchantment that does the same thing, essentially. So we normally get a little bit more longevity against those aggro decks, but unfortunately that was just a quick one. So we'll get there. I'm not worried. We're not gonna lose all the games like we normally do, unfortunately. Interesting. This is not a great hand. I'm gonna mulligan that. I don't think we can keep it. This is a much better hand for sure. Yeah, let's keep you. I think we'll actually put that on the bottom, solely because we've got some card draw here. I think we've got some ways to get what we need. And we do run a fairly high land count again, so we're not, you know, perfect. We'll keep that on top. White. Mono white. Okay. I'm gonna do this and pass. Let's see what they play first. If anything, they may just swing in, and if so, I think we go ahead and Omen of the Forge the Life's Bounty. Life's Bounty in particular is a fairly annoying card because obviously it gives protection, so we certainly want to get our way around that. I'm gonna go ahead and do this now. If they want to sacrifice it, totally fine. It's not gonna matter either way, really. Are they short on mana, or do they have another land? Okay, they do. I was gonna say that would have been a little interesting. I'm gonna let that enter tapped. I'm gonna pass here. We'll see what they do. Yep. I'm looking to Omen this turn, I believe. I think I'd rather do that. This might be just the enchantments focus deck, which is an interesting one. In which case, we probably will want to Prison Realm that Life's Bounty. We do need every land we can get. I don't think we want the Thrill of Possibility there. We've got one in hand, so I'm perfectly happy to let that sit. This is going to be a much slower game, it looks like, which is long-term good for us. Let's go ahead and Prison Realm. We'll see if this actually lands. They could have something like a God's Willing, which would certainly not be amazing, but, you know. Considering they didn't play a creature last turn, I'm fully expecting this is a fairly heavy enchantment-focused deck. And that just means we may be in good shape to kind of nullify quite a number of cards in their hand. If they've got a lot of enchant creatures or something along those lines, we certainly want to be able to deal with those as best we can. So it looks like that may be the case. Let that enter tapped. We probably should have scryed on upkeep there. So that might have been a bit of a mistake, but we will pass here and see what they do. Fully expecting we will be scrying to on the end of their turn. But if we need to draw into an answer of some kind, we can certainly Thrill of Possibility, pitching the Prison Realm. But if they are not going to do anything, which certainly seems like the case, and again, I'm doing the Omen of the Forge or I'm sacrificing the Omen of the Forge here. I think that's a much more important card than the Omen of the Sea. We're gonna lose that either way. I'm gonna keep the Birth of Meletus. Let's throw that out there. Get our land drop for the turn with this, and then again we'll look to scry at the end of their turn. Get our planes. Go ahead and play that out there. So now we are essentially 2 lands away from being able to Dance from the Manse and actually get creatures from it. What we'd really like to see is certainly a Mirror March in the graveyard first. But we are going to start filling it up. We've obviously got the Birth of Meletus going, as well as the Omen of the Sea. So we are going to get some enchantments pitched to it, which is certainly good. Again, this is definitely the Selesnya version of this enchantments deck. Really, really good to be able to nullify their creatures as quickly as possible. I don't think we want the second Dance from the Manse here. Dance of the Manse. I keep... We're going to pass here. Again, we can Thrill the Possibility if we absolutely need to. And if they just don't do anything, that's certainly what we're going to do if they don't have a creature here. Which it doesn't look like they do. I think there's just an unfortunate draw on the opponent's side. Certainly hate to see that, but can't be too upset, I suppose. And there is the Mirror March. So... let's go ahead and Omen of the Sun now. And what we might end up doing is waiting a turn on this Dance of the Manse. We'll see. But it might be advantageous for us to get this Mirror March into the graveyard first, just so we can start copying a lot of our stuff. Now, that is kind of a win more option. We can certainly just kind of go for it here and get some enchantments out, start dealing some damage, take advantage of the position that my opponent is in, which is one without creatures. And that might be the correct play. We'll see what we draw here. Okay. We can also just play the Mirror March, which I actually kind of like that better. We're going to try and show off what this deck can do, so I am going to play out the Mirror March here. They don't have hand destruction in these colors, so we should be okay there. Now we'll go ahead and attack with these two. Might as well get a few points of damage in. I should mention the Mirror March technically works whether it's a creature or not. So it does make sense to play it there because obviously we're going to be pulling creatures from our graveyard, so it's kind of the idea. So now we can dance from the Manse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's see what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are going to be able to draw some cards though off of Omen of the Sea. Whoops, nope. Yeah, let's go for it. So let's go for the 6. We have to make it sure it's 6, otherwise obviously we don't get the creatures. So that's kind of the importance there. Given my opponent's position, I would not, I would be not shocked, I would say, if they went ahead and conceded. We're not necessarily in a winning position. I mean, we are, but they could certainly, you know, climb out of this somehow. So I don't want the impression to be that we just insta win, but we are in a pretty good position now. At some point you have to consider too, there are enchantments in that deck that allow you to draw cards when they're played. I wonder if you just enchant the opponent's stuff. Probably not, right? Actually, yeah, let's keep that. We are going to get to draw a card with Omen of the Sea here, so both of those are quite good. We'll keep the Mirror March. The Mirror March really just lets us go over the top, which is why it's more fun. Okay, we're going to get a lot of Birth of Meletus. This is not truly all that helpful because we do only run 3 planes in the deck. It's more in there to keep us alive. These do not enter as creatures. That does need to be mentioned as well. Obviously, you can kind of see that as we're going through. And that's certainly okay. I'm happy about that, honestly. So we do get some omens. Let's get you. We'll get you. Anything we can do to draw some cards and get some stuff in the graveyard is exactly what we want to do. All right, so now we swing in. The cool thing about like the Birth of Meletus as well is if we do find, so these do eventually get sacrificed, obviously. So if we find another Dance of the Manse, these kind of automatically go to the graveyard, which means we do get more creatures theoretically. They don't do anything all that relevant other than that, but you know, it's kind of fun. So you do kind of get to see what we're up to. We get a lot of enchantments into the graveyard, and we do get to copy a lot of them. We only have 1 Mirror March this time, so it was not, you know, a huge, massive kind of thing. And now what we're going to be looking to do is get this Omen of the Forge onto the battlefield, if we can get another Dance of the Manse. So that's certainly the goal here. We'll be able to dig pretty heavily with Thirst and Thrill, which is quite good for us. And we'll see what they can come up with here. Do we want to scry? Probably so. I'm going to say yes here, because this is going to be a draw turn. We're not playing any big spells this turn. We are going to be digging for most of our stuff. So I am going to stop on upkeep here. I'm going to go ahead and scry with the Omen of the Sun, get that in the graveyard, and then hopefully dig ourselves further to Dance of the Manse. This deck is really sweet though. When it works, it's fun. It certainly does not always work, but that's okay. That's part of the fun, right? I'm going to go ahead and let the scry resolve first. We're going to get a pretty heavy hit here on the opponent as well. We'll go ahead and put both of these on the bottom. Yeah, we'll draw. Okay. We're going to Thirst for Meaning first here, probably. Let's you. Go ahead and Thirst for Meaning. And we will discard our Mirror March here. We do get to Thrill of Possibility as well. I think we'll just discard another Mirror March here. Omen of the Sun is obviously another consideration. We do already have one in the graveyard, so not as upset to get that out, but we'll go ahead and play this Birth. Worth noting here, it's probably better to do this second main, but, you know, it is what it is. We do get a shuffle here. And then we get to swing in for quite a bit of damage, and we're certainly on, you know, 2 turns here, and we certainly can win. Unless, of course, they do have something to do with our board here, which I don't feel very confident that they do. It'd be very unlikely for them to run something like a Shatter the Sky, given that they are also a creature-based deck. I think, honestly, they just had a really bad draw, and I certainly feel bad for that, but got to take advantage of it. Down to 3. We'll see what they draw here. Okay, got a Paradise Druid. That's something. Certainly not enough to get them out of this, but it is a creature, and they do have a lot of card draw in a deck like this, especially with these Seasons of Growth out, so maybe they can get into something. I don't know. My guess is probably not, but that's okay. Okay. This is actually a really sweet deck, by the way. If you've not seen this one, I did, I think, 2 different versions of this deck. I think I did a Selesnya version, but I also did a Abzan version, which is actually one of my favorite decks right now. It's a really, really sweet one. It essentially capitalizes on things like Deadweight and Mogus's Grasp, killing a bunch of opponents' creatures, and sometimes even your own, bringing them back, and then just being able to essentially draw a million cards. Doesn't always work, but when it does, again, it's a really, really fun deck. Definitely one I would recommend checking out. And the cool thing about this deck too is, you know, say they kill Prison Realm or Omen of the Sea or even Birth of Meletus, it doesn't really matter that much. Like, it's obviously not amazing for us, but we still get the opportunity to bring those back with Dance of the Manse because they're all enchantments. Certainly the tokens off of Omen of the Sea, no. But there we go. We got our win. So they did not draw enough creatures, clearly, and that's okay. But you kind of got to see the power level of the deck there. We certainly didn't break it to the point that we're necessarily hoping to, I would say. But we did a pretty good job there. So let's give it one more game. We finally broke our losing streak, though. That feels really good. For 2... So to put this in a frame of reference, I do 3 games with 3 games per video, and then I do per deck 2 videos. So each deck gets 6 games is essentially the way that it works out. This is a very decent starting hand. In the last 2 decks, which means 4 videos, which means 12 games, I've lost every single game, which feels so bad. So it's actually really, really nice at least to win one with this. It is a silly deck, not an amazing one, but it's fun. It's very, very fun. This is great. We do have the Omen of the Forge, which is going to help us to get rid of probably that Healer's Hawk. And then, of course, Thrill of Possibility is going to help us ditch the Mirror March, which is great. We are lacking blue mana. Thankfully, we don't need it right this second. Another great thing about this deck is that we don't necessarily need the mana right away. I'm actually going to do this on the Primate. Let's save ourselves as much damage as possible. That thing certainly gets out of hand pretty quickly. Don't care what their life total is at. It really doesn't matter to us as much. Our goal is certainly to try and get as much out as possible. Great. We got our Steam Vents, which means we got our blue mana. What are we looking to get, though? We certainly need something to deal with these creatures. So more Omen of the Forge would be amazing. Very possible a Sweeper would be a great thing to have in the deck like this. Wow, every single Mirror March. That's pretty crazy. We're gonna go ahead and put this out. I think we are a little bit too far gone at this point. If we find a way to deal with the Daxos, we're in okay shape, but that Daxos is gonna be a problem. And now a Johnny's Pride Mate's certainly gonna be a problem. Get that done. Certainly not going to help us there. I do think we just lose, right? What can we pull back? Just the Mirror Marches. We'll go ahead and do this, but I certainly don't think we can save ourselves here. Yeah, we lose, unfortunately. That was a pretty quick game. I might give it one more. Let's give this one more shot. That was a very, very quick game, and I believe the first one was too, so we'll up it by one. All right, one last game. This will certainly be our last, regardless of how this one plays out. Mr. Geode. Hello, hello. And hopefully, yeah, let's keep. Go ahead and play this out. I'm going to put that on the bottom. We have a decent number of lands here with some card draw with Omen of the Sea, so I'm not significantly worried about running out of lands here. And certainly if we draw like that, we're going to be just fine. Interesting against these, this is, I assume, either a Jeskai Fires or some kind of control deck. It's usually not a mirror match. And so I'm kind of interested to see what we end up being against here and how this plays out. I think I've had one game against a relatively similar control style deck. I'm going to get Omen of the Forge in the graveyard. They're not going to have very many creatures that Omen of the Forge can kill unless it's copied. So that's certainly our goal. Wow, okay. 4 color. Thankfully we have the Prison Realm. We can certainly deal with that. In fact, I think we'll go ahead and do this now. Prison Realm, a great way to deal with Teferi. Gives us a scry, obviously, which is really, really key. But then also just hits it right on curve. It's perfect. Fires of Invention. Yep. Okay. Definitely makes sense. Double fires. Okay. Interesting. Actually good for them there, though, because we do have the Prison Realm in hand. I'm going to do this, discarding the Mirror March. We'll play this. I'm going to save the Prison Realm for whatever they play with the Fires of Invention, and I'm just going to flash in, most likely, Omen of the Sun here. They may not have much if they're into this position. They didn't get a land there, which is pretty key. I'm going to do this and hit one of their fires. Whoops, there we go. Bit annoying that graphic always comes in the way, but that's okay. Let's get Temple of Enlightenment down. Let's see what we've got on top. I don't think we want that, actually. Again, we've got a lot of lands, so I'm not significantly worried about drawing into the lands that we need. Very possible we could not have attacked there, just in case they end up with a Cavalier of Flame. But no, Niv-Mizzet Reborn. Okay. Very cool. Thought Scour. I mean, they're going to hit Prison Realm, I assume. Oh, okay. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're not quite there yet, but it's Prison Realm. Hitting that. I think here we need that on the bottom. Let's push that out. Let's see, we can dance the Manse for one. The only reason we would do that is obviously because they're gonna probably Thought Scour this upcoming turn. The other option is to kind of take the risk and see what they do. No, you know what? I'm going to let them do it. If they want to take that, that's fine. We'll scry and hopefully be able to pull something off of one of our omens there. Deafening Clarion. Okay. Sure. Yep. Interesting. They did not do anything there. Okay. Let's get Omen of the Sun in the graveyard. We're going to ditch both of those. We really need the... That was actually a mistake, was it not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that technically was a mistake. Whoops. We needed that land, actually. That was a misplay on my end. We're going to play a Mirror March out there. That's fine. They can bounce that. If they want to take it out with the Thought Scour too. Or, excuse me, Thought Erasure. Please do. But they're definitely going to take Dance of the Manse, yeah. This is a really interesting Fires deck. Yeah, that's cool. Play Omen. Need a land or dance. Really both. Take the land. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So now we literally just need dance. Niv Mizzet. Yup. Definitely a sweet one. Alright. Well. Let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and scry here as well. I'm actually going to keep Thrill, and I'm going to ditch the Birth. And Sacred Foundry out. I'm going to give this a shot. Ditching Mirror March. Okay, well, we do have the Dance of the Manse. We now just need them to essentially not have a Thought Erasure, which is certainly going to be a bit of a struggle as they have drawn quite a number of cards here. Okay. We will exile this Sacred Foundry, that's fine. Very good. Okay. Well, they can't play anything else this turn. I'm surprised they didn't attack, actually. That's kind of... Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 enchantments in our graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can get all of them. We do have to be a bit careful. Every draw we have is certainly a problem. because of that Niv Mizzet. So we just have to be a bit cautious there. Let's get them all out. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that just when it's instants and sorceries? Yes. Okay. My apologies. That was just incorrect on my end. So let's actually take out Chandra here. 2 damage. We're hoping to get a lot more Omen of the Forge, so I'm banking on dealing 2 damage to a lot of different things. I'm taking out Chandra because it has the highest loyalty. Yes, we will draw that. All right, let's hope we can get there on some of these. Woo! It's a lot of mirror marches. Perfect. There we go. Elspeth Conquers Death coming in clutch. Let's get Niv Mizzet out of there. Let's get Bolus out of there. Let's get Teferi out of there. And let's get Fires out of there. So this is where you can really start to see the power level of this. It's really cool when it works. And this certainly is not a statement saying we're going to win this game either. It's very much up in the air as it always is, but this is certainly a testament to how cool this deck can be, which is really fun. And there's a couple Omen of the Forges. In hindsight, it probably was better to just hit the player with the Omen of the Forges, but that's okay. Draw another card. Keep that Elspeth Conquers Death. Draw more cards. Get Thrill here. I'm not significantly looking at the top of the deck here. Certainly would be ideal if we go get a second Dance of the Manse. That should be what I'm looking for. I'm just kind of doing this for the sake of being faster. Get a couple more forges. Man, we have just a ton of mirror marches. Okay, so here I think I will look for an actual Dance of the Manse, just so we've got a bit of an insurance policy. There we go. And really we could look for a second one if we can help it. Solely so we can have thought erasure protection as well. Ooh, lots of Omen of the Suns. So this is very much a do-it-all kind of deck. You get a lot of creatures, you get a lot of life, and you get a lot of cards. And that's the goal. Plus you get a lot of damage if you can get... But it's all luck-based, again, so you're running up against the Mirror Marches. You never really know if you're going to get there or not, but either way, it's really fun. I'm glad that this worked out this time. Even if we lose this game, the win for us is solely just to pull this off. They could have a Shatter the Sky. That's fine. We have another dance, so it really doesn't matter that much. If anything, it just stalls a little bit and we get more life, potentially. And here again, we're looking to discard as many artifacts as possible, solely because obviously we're going to want to get those back with Dance later. So could have been a good idea to hang on to a couple of them solely because we have the Thrill possibility, but we do have the Thirst for Meaning to help us get there if we need to. So not super worried about that. I'm assuming they've got... Okay, they're going to double Deafening Clarion, I bet. Yeah, that's cool. Well done. And they can bounce a prison realm if they'd like. Is this only when you cast, though? No, it's just when it enters the battlefield. Oh, they're just gonna... Smart. Okay, yeah. No, I'm with that. That's cool. The problem is now we just have both prison realms back, but, like, that's fine. And they have a time wipe in hand. Okay, so we're looking to not dance this turn. They do have a thought erasure, so we are going to have to be pretty careful there. Oh, well, we've got second. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and prison realm. Yeah, I'll keep that on top. And then let's thirst, pitching the Omen of the Forge. Want as many damage dealers in the graveyard as possible. That way, when we dance from the Manse, we don't care if they thought erasure, or excuse me, we don't care if they time wipe. If they have double thought erasure, that's going to be pretty annoying. Which they very easily could, but they don't. They do have Garrick. Yep. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many cards are left in our deck? 17. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I missing one? Let's see. We don't care about Birth of Meletus, but we only have one more. Let's do that. Okay. Well, goodbye, Garrick. We're going to ping them every single time with Omen of the Forge here. We're looking to win. And hey, we do have a Plains left. That's pretty cool. Of course, we get a million flips on the Mirror Marches and not on the Omens. That's kind of sucky, but that's okay. Okay, just a couple more points of damage here. And a couple more points of damage. We need one more flip on an Omen of the Forge and then we can win it. How many Mirror Marches is that? All right, there we go. We win it. There we go. Okay, we got to do it twice in a game. So that is kind of the ceiling with a deck like this, and I think it's really, really fun. Absolutely love this deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know we drew it out for an extra game, but it was worth it. That was a fun one. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please do check out our Instagram and our Patreon. Links are down below. Our website is itresolvesmtg.com. If you're interested in reading articles and checking out our proxy gallery, all that kind of stuff, we certainly would appreciate it. But thank you guys again. I will see you in the next gameplay video where we're going to try and take this for 3 more games. I'm really excited.